Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining today's masterclass on Password Manager Pro. Before I get into this session today, I will give you 60 seconds. Kindly let me know through the chat if the voice is audible and the display is well and clear. So you can just raise, if you have any difficulties, please do raise them through the chat panel. All right, so I didn't hear anything. I hope the audio is well and the display is well and clear as well. So with no further delay, let's get into the session. All right, so today's masterclass is going to be on integrations and advanced configuration. So this masterclass is being started on July 12th, and we are doing it 2 weeks once every Thursday. And all the previous sessions are recorded and stored as a video along with the question and answers which are raised during the session. So you can simply come to the registration page and take a look at what are the things. All right. So that's about it. And yeah, so even this session is going to be recorded and it will be available. And we have next two sessions which is coming on the disaster recovery and the Password Manager Pro MSP, which is going to be scheduled on November 1st and 15th. All right. Now let's get into the webinar today. So the agenda for today is going to be on the first one is going to be the ticketing system integration. So we are going to discuss the various ticketing system which can be integrated with Password Manager Pro. The next one is going to be the SIEM integration, where you can forward the audit logs from Password Manager Pro to any SIEM tools, either as a syslog or an SNMP trap. And the third option is a secure cloud storage, where all the passwords from the Password Manager Pro can be exported and synced with your cloud storage like Dropbox, Box, and Amazon S3. We will discuss in detail about it, as well as the password reset listener, which is used for executing scripts post the password reset. So this is going to be the agenda for today. Today's session will not take more than 20-25 minutes. It's going to be a short session. And yeah, if you have any questions during the session, feel free to raise them. I will answer them towards the end of it. All right. So first one is going to be integrating Password Manager Pro with Enterprise Ticketing System. So these are the various ticketing system which we support out of the box: ServiceDesk Plus Cloud, ServiceDesk Plus MSP, ServiceDesk Plus. So these three products are from ManageEngine. We also support ServiceNow and JIRA Service Desk out of the box. Apart from that, if you have any other ticketing system, still you can very well integrate it with Password Manager Pro by creating your own implementation class. So I will explain them how it's going to work. All right. So first, let's see how does this integration work. So in Password Manager Pro, whenever you're trying to retrieve a password, or if you're trying to change a password or take an RDP session, you can get that validated using your ticket ID which is being provided, and we validate the ticket ID on the target, that is the ticketing system, whether the status is open, or you can have any any criteria defined, and based on that criteria which is defined by you. So one example criteria is if the ticket state is not closed, okay, then we can release the ticket ID. So you can create your own criteria based on your requirements. So this is a simple example criteria which I explained you. First, I'm going to explain you on the Service Desk Plus on demand. So this is pretty straightforward. Any ManageEngine product, let it be Service Desk Plus on demand, MSP, or the normal Service Desk Plus. Okay, all you need to do is provide your ticketing system URL here. Once the ticketing system URL is provided on your end machine, that is on your ticketing system, you have to create a user with REST role. Once it's been created, using that user, you will be able to create an auth token, and you have to provide this auth token. So pretty straightforward. Once you provide the auth token, everything is good to go. You can click on save. But just to validate whether the auth token and the URL is working fine or not, you have to click on test configuration setup. You can give your any sample ticket ID from the ServiceDesk Plus products, and if you click on test, it will fetch and show you the details regarding that ticket. Okay, this will ensure that the the credentials provided by you are correct. So this is one way. You're going to do this same way for MSP and ServiceDesk Plus. In case of ServiceNow or JIRA Service Desk, okay, it's going to be the same. You're going to provide the ticketing system URL. Once the ticketing system URL is being provided, you need to, in order for the auth token, that is all these ticketing system integration works based on the API, so there should be a REST services which is being supported by them. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on generate and provide the user credentials who has the REST role on your ticketing system. Once you provide that, and once you click on proceed, the auth token will get updated here automatically, and then you can once again test the configuration setup by providing the ticket ID. All right, and when you click on test, it's going to give you the output the same way the the Service Desk Plus on cloud worked. All right, so now let's say I have enabled the ticketing system. So how it's going to help me? So that's the part which we are going to look into now. So I have a resource here, and I want to retrieve the password for this. If the ticketing system is not enabled, you will be able to retrieve the password just like that. But once the ticketing system is provided, I have to provide a valid ticket ID and click on proceed. My password will be released. In case if I'm not providing a valid ticket ID, okay, so for this I'm just trying to retrieve and I'm providing an invalid ticket ID, and if I click on proceed, it says either the ticket ID is invalid or the validation is going to be failed. All right, so that's how the integration works. This is not only for the passwords getting retrieved. As I told you, even if you try to take a SSH or an RDP session from the tool, we will prompt you for a ticket ID. Only if a valid ticket ID is provided, we will authenticate into that particular a network device, or even to the to the RDP, to the server. That's how it works. Okay, and yeah. So the next part is on the ticketing system. We have advanced optional configuration, which is nothing but I told you that you can define your own criteria it before releasing the ticket, right? So if you come to more and if you click on advanced configuration, you can map entry in the Password Manager Pro versus your ticketing system. So in Password Manager Pro, it's called user account, and the ticketing system, it's called requester. So if this person is requesting for the password, and if he provides a ticket ID which is not closed, then you can release the password for him. So that's one way of criteria. So based on the fields which you have in your ticketing system, you can keep creating your more criterias, like if the ticket created time is okay some date, only then the ticket should be validated, and you should be able to retrieve the password. Okay, so this way you can have your own custom criteria created. This is not only for manage engine service desk. For any ticketing system, we have provided the same option. So if you click on the advanced configuration, you can select whatever name you want to map that particular details with your ticketing system. All right, so you can select any field and make sure the criteria provided by you is validated. Only after the validation, a Password Manager Pro will release the password. So this is how a simple ticketing system integration works. Apart from that, whenever a password is being retrieved based on a ticket ID, In the retrieval, we will provide you the details of the ticket ID like this. So it will tell you the ticket ID in the reason field, stating that this particular password is being retrieved using the ticket ID, which will be useful for your auditing purpose, right? And the next one is going to be on the custom implementation. So apart from the criterias which is available based on the fields, you can very well create your own implementation class. When I say implementation class, you can define your own criteria here. All right, so it can be anything apart from these fields which are available. If you want to go with your own defined set of rules to validate the ticket, you can very well make use of them. We have also provided a code snippet on how a custom, you can implement your own class. So if you come to our help documentation, you can come to resource management and ticketing system integration, in which we have provided you a code snippet on how you can integrate other ticketing system, or you can create your own implementation class to validate the ticket. So that's available here, which your any help desk, any administrator who manage the help desk should be able to understand. And all these integration is going to work with RESTful API. So it's pretty straightforward to understand and create your own custom implementation class. Or if you have any other ticketing system apart from the ones which is mentioned here, you can just select others and you can create your own custom implementation class. Once it's been created, it has to be approved by an authorized administrator in Password Manager Pro. Once it's been approved, you will be able to make use of the integration. All right. So this is about the advanced configuration or the custom implementation available. So the next so we are done with the ticketing system. The next one is going to be the SIEM integration. So I have discussed about this even in the previous session. So in Password Manager Pro, each and every action performed, it's going to be audited and stored as an audit event along with the date and time stamp. Okay, so all these audit events can be forwarded either as a syslog or an SNMP to your syslog collector or the SNMP receiver. So once you go ahead, you click on configure audit. All right, so you can see all your audit actions here. So first, to configure the SNMP and syslog, you have to provide the server details here. So if you provide an SNMP, it's going to be sending an SNMP v2c trap, and all the MIB files which are required for this SNMP trap is available here. So you can simply click on it to see the MIB of the SNMP trap. And the same way, you can also integrate a syslog collector where you can provide the details of the syslog collector, and we will send an RFC 3164 compliant syslog message. Also, this is one sample format in which the passwords can be forwarded to your syslog. All right. So traditionally, this is how it will be seen. Okay. Now, once the SNMP or syslog collector is being configured, you can simply select the actions which you would like to forward it to your SNMP trap receiver or syslog. So you need not need all the audit events to be forwarded. So you can select the audit events which are only required to be forwarded to your syslog or SNMP trap. All right. So this is one way of getting this done. Or else you might also have a criteria or a requirement stating I don't want the syslogs or SNMP traps for all the events happening in Password Manager Pro. Instead, I want it only for a certain set of passwords to be forwarded. In that case, we do have this option in the resource group level, where you can enable notification for only a certain set of passwords. Okay, so whenever a password is being accessed, you can send a syslog The same way, if it is being changed, a share is getting changed, if it is being expired, all these audit events can also be forwarded as a syslog or SNMP trap. But this is going to be only for the set of passwords which are present inside the resource group. So the other one which is available in the audit session is going to be for every action. Here you can just do it for every action and on a particular set of passwords. So that's the difference. And yeah, so that's about the SIEM integration. The next one is going to be the secure cloud storage option. Okay, so the typical use case would be uh, in Password Manager Pro, we do provide Android and iOS apps, okay, using which users can access the passwords offline. But let's take a scenario. If even if the users wants to sync a password to the mobile device, first they have to be connected to your corporate network, and then only they will be able to sync the passwords for offline access. There might be a requirement where you will have users who will be in a roaming profile. They might have to go to the customer place and do some physical work there. So in that case, they will not have. They might need a password with them to work on the servers or devices, but they will not have access to your network due to various restrictions. In that scenario, what they can do is they can export the passwords from this tool in an encrypted HTML file and sync it with the cloud storage options available with us. This way, when they are at the client's network, all they have to do is open the encrypted HTML file from the cloud storage applications on their mobile device, and when they are opening it, they have to just type in the passphrase which is used for encrypting that file. All right, so let's look into that one by one. The first one is going to be the Dropbox synchronization. So you have to come to the admin tab. In the admin tab, you will see cloud storage. You have to enable this Dropbox, and first time you have to click on this test Dropbox connection. So it will actually prompt you for your details like your email address. It's going to prompt you. I will just show you that screen. So once it's done, it will prompt you for your credentials, and you have to authorize Password Manager Pro to allow the integration with Dropbox. Once it's been done, okay, the integration should be available, and you can ensure it's working fine by clicking the Test Dropbox connection. Now, once this is done, you can simply go to the resources. You can export, or that is, you can sync the passwords for offline access. Once you do it using the email address which is provided, a file will be created, and it will be using that email address for your cloud storage, and it will add this file to that particular uh, account which is created in the Dropbox. So if you just click on proceed, it will say will upload to your Dropbox shortly, and then it will be available. So when you are doing this, you have to create a passphrase, and this passphrase should be provided every time when the passwords is accessed offline. And we have implemented AES 256-bit algorithm to even encrypt the passwords which are stored offline. So if in case the user forgets this password, there is no way they can retrieve the passwords from that file, right? So this is one option. The next storage option is going to be the Amazon S3. Okay, so it works the same way. So once you click on Amazon once you come to admin cloud storage, you can click on Amazon S3. All right, so once you select Amazon S3, you will have an option here to test the connection. So I will show you the screenshots on how Amazon S3. Yeah, so allow automatic. So this is the first screen, and here for integrating the Amazon S3, when you do it first time, it will ask you for your access key ID and secure access key and the bucket name in which the file has to be uploaded. So once you provide all this information, it's a one-time option on scan to provide this. Once this is done, it will be automatically, when you try to export the passwords offline to the Amazon, it will directly upload it. So you will see the option export sync with Amazon S3 for mobile access. So once you click on it, it will be automatically exported over there with the passphrase provided. And the last one of this cloud storage is going to be the box synchronization. So for the box synchronization, it's going to be a different method where you have to create, you have to create or authorized this app. So in your console, the box console, you will see partner integration app. You have to just select it, provide Password Manager Pro, and you have to select the authentication mechanism, how Password Manager Pro can authenticate into your box developer. So you have to collect all this information. Once these informations are collected, when you come here, when you select the cloud storage, you have to provide that client ID and secret from your box account. Once that's been provided, you will be able to export the passwords even to box. All right, so this is about the enterprise cloud storage. And the last topic is going to be the password reset listener for today's session. So what is password reset listener? It's basically whenever you try to reset a password from the product, from the Password Manager Pro, once the password reset is done, you might have a requirement like a password reset is done, just restart the machine or go ahead, restart the service, or just update it in one of the config files. So any post action after password reset is required, you will be able to make use of the listener, where you have to develop your own batch file, VBS file, like a script file or a PowerShell script file. So once you reset the password, that particular thing will get invoked from Password Manager Pro. So we have two types of listener, the default listener and the custom listener. I will show you them. So what I'm going to do is go to the admin tab, click on this password reset listener. Okay, sorry about that. I'm going to create, I already have a reset listeners created here. So I will show you. I will go to the admin tab, password reset listener, add listener. I'm going to provide a name here, simply like test, browse, and select a batch file here. And I have to select for which resource type it should be applicable. Even using this listener, it's not only the post action. Let's say we have some resource type which is not supported by us. So even for that, you can invoke a script or a batch file from Password Manager Pro. So when you change the password, it will get updated locally inside the Password Manager Pro, and the a batch, a VBS, or a PowerShell script will be called from the product, which will update the passwords on the target machine. All right. So once this is done, you have to select the appropriate type for which it should be applicable, and whether the password request should be sent. So this has to be approved. Whenever you create a listener script, it has to be approved. So with the default listener, you can either create a batch program or a VBS file. Whereas when it comes to the custom listener, you can make use of the PowerShell scripts and you can do it. So both are the same option. With the custom listener, it's going to be purely for PowerShell. The default listener is for batch and the VBS scripts. All right. So I have created this and associated this listener with a resource type called test and Linux. So now whenever I try to change the password for this listener, for the list resource type, I have a batch file associated to it. Am I right? So what it's going to do is when I change the password and click on save, it will update the password and it will execute the script file. So when you come to the audit, okay, it will tell you that password reset listener is being triggered. So that will be available in your recent field. This is how the reset listener scripts work. It's basically to execute any post actions for after the password reset has been done. And yeah, so if you have any doubts on how to create a listener script, or if you need some examples, if you come to resource management and password reset listener, we have provided the sample reference file how you have to do your implementation class. So everything is available, how to get the properties and how to invoke that properties when you are sending it from the scripts. Okay, so all the arguments, and even we have a sample PowerShell script in the help in our help documentation, which you can use and implement your own class for performing the password resets. All right, or any post action which needs to be performed from this tool. Yeah, so that brings to the end of today's session. As I mentioned you, this is a short topic, the advanced integration. So if you have any questions, please raise them to the chat panel and I will answer those questions now. So I didn't hear any questions so far. The So if you, in case you have any questions with these topics, please do send it to Password Manager Pro support at ManageEngine.com, and I will answer them. I will reply to that email. As I mentioned you, that the next webinar is going to be on database backup, high availability, failover service with SQL database, which is going to happen on November 1st. So when you guys please do join that, and it will be very useful for handling your disaster recovery situations. And yeah, so that brings to the end of today's session. Thank you so much for taking time during your busy schedule and attending this session today. Hope it was useful and informative. And if in case you guys have any questions or feedback, please to send it to this. Thank you and have a nice day. Bye.